All right, I am going to be starting the stream here soon, but I thought I'd record a video, tell you all about my interesting day yesterday. I thought it would be, funny content, just because it was really one of the more bizarre days I've ever had in my life, and it actually starts 2 days ago, Thursday. Thursday night, or Thursday afternoon, I should say, my video for Adrian's drunk playthrough of Breath of the Wild had posted, and a guy me and my cousin had met like 2-3 weekends ago. I think it was 2 or 3 weekends, when we were doing the stream of Sea of Thieves and GTA. He had popped into the stream about a half hour in and asked if he could play with us, and I let him know that we play legitimately, like we do jobs and try to stay financially productive, because me and my cousin don't get a whole lot of time to play together when we do, because he doesn't play when his wife's awake, kind of thing. So I was like, we don't get a whole lot of time together, so when we play, we crack jokes while we're doing the jobs, but we try to stay productive, so we are making money while we're doing it. So like in GTA, he will be the driver and I will be in the passenger seat, and while we're driving to where we're going, I'll read jokes from subreddit, whether it be clean jokes, dirty jokes, Chuck Norris jokes, just jokes, something to fill in some of the space while we're driving. And then we crack jokes while we're actually playing and whatever. But and then in Sea of Thieves, while he'll steer the ship and I'll keep track of the map table and make sure we're going the right way, and then I'll try and read from all those subreddits as well. But it's just like we like to stay productive. We'll crack jokes while we're doing it, but we like to stay productive. So if you're going to play with us, you can't screw with us, because we let a kid come in and play with us before, and he basically just got in the way of us doing anything the entire time he played with us. And it kind of, like, it was funny for a second, but it ultimately annoyed us, because again, try to stay productive while we're playing. So we stopped playing with him, and then he's like, oh no, I totally get it, I'm not going to do that. In fact, I'm going to help you guys make a lot of money. And quite frankly, he did. We made more money than we've ever made playing Sea of Thieves with him in those 4 hours that we played than we've ever made playing 4 hours just the two of us. So to his credit, he stuck to his guns, behaved himself, and still was able to crack jokes and all that while we were playing. And it was probably the most fun I've ever had playing that game. It's fun playing the game with my cousin, just the two of us, but having that third person there kind of helped make it less, obligatory to fill in the dead space with something. Like, there was somebody already filling dead space with something. So, like, this is a lot of fun. He behaved himself. We totally intended to play with the kid at a different point, 15-year-old kid. And because he was so cool, I figured, I have a Minecraft realm that I have. It's like a 10-person Xbox realm. And I have like 3 or 4 slots left open in it. So I told him, I was like, if you want, you can join and, goof around. And I was hoping maybe if I got enough people in it, I could start doing some Minecraft streams too. Just goofing around, mining shit, building shit, whatever. And he's like, yeah, no, totally cool. I would love to do that. So I sent him the link in Xbox messages to the Discord realm, and he joined. Well, according to him at least, his cousin went in before he did, and I had figured out how to make custom images appear on your realms. And so I put together a bunch of, it was like Digimon, Pokemon. I'm playing Pokemon Infinite Fusion right now, so I took some of the fusions I made that I like, and I'm putting them in the realm. And so I built like a cobbled deep stone, or deep slate, cobbled deep slate building. And I made a museum, and I spent quite a few hours adding some, additional levels to put the new pictures I had cultivated in. And I got it all put together, and I sent him the link it was either that Wednesday or that Tuesday, this past week. And he joined it and went in Thursday, and according to him at least, his cousin went in and pulled down a bunch of the images I had put up and stored them somewhere on the server. And he knew where they were, and he told me he knew where they were, and that he would be willing to put them back up by memory, but that he was really sorry it happened. And I'm like, I'm not mad at you, I'm mad at your cousin, and I'm mad at the fact that I just spent hours throwing together this museum trying to make the server a little more interesting, and in less than a day this dude tore it down, or tore down the pictures at least. So he asked if he could have a friend come in and help him, and I had said yeah, sure, if he actually helps. So he did, and I hopped in on my phone while they were putting it together and helped them put some of the images back together. And some of the images that I had cultivated were an artist had made like if these Digimon were real, this is what they would look like. So realistic looking Digimon. And I had downloaded the ultimate forms of the first season to put up on the wall. And I had all of the first season ultimate levels up. And we were missing all but Angie-Woman. And I had 4 of the 9 tiles of the picture, because it was a 3x3, so there were 9. I had 4 of them, so I'm like, they're missing 5, and he's like, oh, I'll go grab them. And then dude pops off the friend pops off the 4 tiles that were up there and goes, I have a better place we can put this. And I'm like, you're not part of this realm. And my big rule about being in my Minecraft realm is don't touch things other people have done. You can add to them with their permission, but don't touch things other people have done, because they spent a lot of time making it look the way they want to, and taking it down is just rude. So I was like, put it where I want it, please. If you want me to add stuff to this museum, if I intend to keep you, that's fine. But where I want it is where I have it was where I want it. So please put it there. And he took off. And I kept teleporting him back to me and saying, please give me the tiles so I can put it back up. And if there's more tiles, please go collect them. And he kept leaving. And I would teleport him back and say, please give me the tiles. And then it turned into, give me the fucking tiles, because I was getting tired of the shit. And it turned into, JJ hid the guy I had met, JJ, has hid the rest of the tiles somewhere, and he made me promise not to tell where. And by that point I was getting tired of the both of them, because it's just like JJ was helping and wasn't being tomfoolishness about it, but his friend was, and it was bugging me, and I was already mad about the whole situation. So I'm like, I'm not in the mood for this. Please give me the tiles and get out of my server. You've no longer served a purpose. And he kept leaving and telling me that JJ won't let me tell you where the rest of the tiles were. So I'm like, you know what? I don't know if it's true, but I'm getting tired of all this bullshit. So I kicked them both out of the server. And when I get off the stream today, I'm actually going to take the computer in the living room, look at what images did not make it, and I'm just going to replace them and then be done with that. But that is how my Friday started. So I was already kind of in a bad mood. And the wife and I took Friday off because a couple months back she had purchased tickets to go see Steve Hofstetter, a comedian on YouTube who's infamous for torching hecklers. And I mean, he's got really funny jokes as well. He's very hilarious, but he's become kind of YouTube famous for torching people who heckle at his shows. And we had gone to see him, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but we had gone to see him once before, and we were going to see him last night, and we did. But where we were going to see him was at a venue that has street parking only, and the neighborhood that it was in is not one we feel comfortable parking in the street in. So we elected to take the bus. And getting on the bus to get to the downtown area where we needed to go wasn't that bad. But taking the bus that we needed to connect from downtown to where the venue was, we get on, and within like 5 minutes, there's this chick that got on the bus and was on her phone and was just screeching at this dude who wouldn't tell her where he was. And apparently the locations he kept giving her were ones she did not believe he was at. So it was, you're fucking lying to me. Where are you right now? Blah, 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 blah. And everybody in the bus is like, ma'am, no one here. Oh, I just pulled my microphone out. Ma'am, no one needs to hear your fucking conversation. Everybody's got problems. Stop making yours ours, And she was like ignoring everybody and kept, hollering at this dude. And it was rather hilarious. But the upside of that whole interaction was, the woman who yelled at the girl on the phone had like the most gorgeous pity service dog, and yeah, the saddest eyes, and it was so cute, and I just wanted to boop the snoot and give it cuddles, but obviously can't because service dog that's on the job. So, but that was a bit of a bizarre interaction, and we get to the show, and of course, right off the bat, somebody started heckling at the show by booing the mention of Wisconsin. I live in Minnesota, and they booed the mention of Wisconsin. And they mentioned being in Wisconsin the following night, today, and this dude booed, and so they went into like a whole thing about maybe don't boo people from where they were born because they weren't they didn't choose to be there, and blah 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 blah. And it was kind of a funny interaction. Well, there was a woman that sat behind us the entire night, and she had the most god-awful annoying laugh I've probably ever heard in my life. And because it wasn't regular laugh, it was I'm like, oh god, I gotta hear this all night. Well, fucking she swore up and down she loved this dude and watched his YouTube videos all the time, right in the middle of the show, which is like, if you love this dude, then you would clearly know it's a terrible idea to try and heckle this man while he's doing his show, because it's just not going to work in your favor. It never does, never will. This isn't going to start now. And this woman kept on, I love being the center of attention. I love being attention, and this is great for me, and blah, 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 blah. And they were all trying to get her to realize the attention she was getting was not positive attention, and that it was deeply and wildly pathetic that she took it as positive. But she just kept going, and it was one of those things where when she left the room, the entire room cheered because they were all getting tired of her. And he has a text line that you can send text messages into that are like after show questions. And one person sent in a question that was basically, can you please remove this woman from the show? She's annoying. And that was, before the show started. So that was quite hilarious. Well, I felt really bad for my wife because she was sitting directly in front of this woman. So she had to listen to that laugh in her ear all night long. And then she got up to leave for whatever reason. I'm assuming to get another drink because this woman was absolutely show wasted. She got up to get another drink, came back, and you could see on Steve's face that he noticed she came back because suddenly a look of God damn it came over his face, but he didn't give her any attention. So he just kind of kept on with his show and really tried hard not to let her take back control of the show, or try to. And she didn't. She minded, her P's and Q's and stopped trying after that. So, like, the rest of the show is pretty great. So we get done with the show. We get back outside. We're waiting for the bus, and this homeless dude comes up to me and he goes, do you have a couple bucks you could spare to a homeless guy? And I'm like, genuinely, I didn't have any cash. I rarely ever carry cash. If I am carrying cash, it's to buy lottery tickets. So I was like, no, sorry, sir, I honestly do not have any cash for you. And it was a metro line, so it was one of the things where they expect you to pay for the bus before you even get on it, kind of thing. So when it just shows up, you just step on it and they take off. So I was walking around to the terminal to purchase said ticket, and I immediately see this dude whip out a paper bag, and inside of it was a tall boy and one of them small sampler like wine bottles. So I was just kind of like, see, this is why I didn't give you any money, because you're going to turn around and spend that shit on alcohol. Because I myself have been homeless before, so I am sympathetic to the struggle in like the most obvious way. Now, granted, I was actually quite lucky. I was homeless, but I was able to sleep on like families' couches and stuff. I couch surfed for like 2 years. It was a ridiculously long amount of time before I was able to find a job again. But I couch surfed between my cousins, my grandma, my sister. But it's just like I had a place to sleep, but I didn't have a home of my own. I didn't have any money of my own. I basically survived off of other people, which is something I hope to never experience again. So it's like I'm not in the same exact position as this guy, but having him ask me for money and then whip out 2 things of alcohol, I'm like, see, that's why I didn't give you money. And usually if I do give something to a homeless person, it's not money, it's food. I'll go in and grab them, a sandwich and a drink or something like that. Something to give them a little something in their belly. Because, I don't believe in giving cash to people who sit on the street, because it's like you're going to turn around and buy, some illicit shit with it. And anyway, the dude fare hopped his way onto the bus and drove down to, I don't even remember what the connecting streets were, but he was sitting there on the bus in front of us, and I'm like, I didn't notice him at first, so I'm sitting here talking about, see, I didn't give that man money because, dude pulled out 2 things of alcohol, like, right out the bat, and that was kind of a turnoff for me, and, it's like, yeah, and then the dude turns around and, yeah, that was me, and I'm like, okay, and so I dropped it because, dude was absolutely hammered off his ass. Like, this dude was stumbling around. Like, the bag he took the tall boy out of, which barely was big enough to hold the tall boy, he had like a takeout container of Chinese food, and he tried to like tuck that in tightly and put it into the bag, and I saw him just and I'm just like, oh god, this dude is absolutely hammered, and if I continue the conversation, he's going to try and start a fight with me, and I don't fight drunk people to begin with. Just because, even if you're, a great fighter, when you're drunk, you're not fighting anybody. So it's like, I'm not going to fight somebody who's in no fit state by themselves, let alone fight them when they're not in a position to properly defend themselves. So I'm like, nope. I'm going to stop this conversation because I'm not trying to fight this dude. So I stopped talking to him, and he, looked forward again, all pissy, and was dicking around with whatever. And not only that, but I saw this man pop out a cell phone. I'm like, you can't be that fucking poor if you can afford a cell phone. Like, I know they have like cheap, burner phone plans, but come on, like, you can't be that hard off. But that interaction ended quickly. Well, then we drove by what I'm assuming was a shooting scene. It was a bunch of cop cars, a firefighter, ambulance, all that, and it was, police line tape off. So I'm like, okay, so I'm pretty sure a shooting happened there or something. Somebody died, the very least. And there was some woman who just decided that there was that moment in time that everybody in the bus should be her therapist, because she started just trauma dumping everything about her life in front of God and everybody. And that's why I don't mess with nobody, and y'all need to stop trying to shoot each other and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, got a point, but you're not in a therapist's office, ma'am. Like, let's just, everybody's trying to get their ass to where they're trying to go. Let's not try and fucking unpack shit at 11 o'clock at night. So we get off that bus and get back on the 10, and There was something else too. Riding back to the, or no, it was riding to the show from the bus downtown to the show. There was a woman that was on there with like one of the little rolling cage carts, and a person in a wheelchair had been at the stop, and she was sitting in one of the chairs that folds up, or one of the benches that folds up to a so wheelchair person can be situated there. And the bus driver looked at her and she goes, he goes, "You're gonna have to move. We have a wheelchair coming on." She goes, "I don't have to move." And he goes, "You're literally sitting on the bench where this guy's gonna go, so you gotta move. Like, you gotta move, or you gotta get off the bus." And he goes, there's literally an open seat like right next to you. Just go sit in that, please. I have to get this guy on. I have a route to keep. And she kept arguing with him. And he goes, "Ma'am, you either get into that seat, or I have to call the cops and have you removed from the bus, or you leave the bus yourself, or like, these are your options, but you're not sitting in the seat any longer." And she begrudgingly moves. He gets the wheelchair guy in there, and they start driving, and then they get to her stop, and she stops at the bus driver and starts unloading on him about how she made him, or he made her move, and blah 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 blah. And everybody's like, "Bitch, get off the bus, we're trying to go places." And she just kept arguing with him, and finally got off the bus. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, like, holy God. And but yeah, we get back on the bus from downtown, connecting back to where we needed to go home. And we hadn't eaten dinner yet, so we're like, we should probably stop somewhere and get dinner. Well, the only places that were open at 11 o'clock at night in Minnesota was a Perkins down in Roseville, or basically all of the Denny's is ever. And I've never had a good meal at Denny's, so I'm like, all right, let's roll the dice at Perkins. Well, we get to the Perkins, and right off the bat, like, bad feeling. Like, just kind of gross interior, people that literally look like they worked the night for a reason. And just like, well, we're hungry. This is one of only 2 places open. We're right here. Might as well sit down and eat. So I'm like, cool. So I go to use the restroom, and I shit you not, I walk into the restroom, and the urinal that's there is literally, this is the floor, this is the bottom of the urinal. Like, right, like, this shit was built by the Lollipop Guild, I swear to God. So I'm like, all right. So I use the toilet to go to the bathroom and come back out, and we get our order taken, and we ordered side salads, and the lettuce was like extremely wet. So I'm like, y'all didn't even try and dry this shit? Okay. And then our burgers I ordered a burger, she ordered a chicken melt, and chicken strip melt. And my burger, like, they smashed the shit out of that thing so bad it ripped in half, and they like tried to staple that shit together with cheese. And I'm like, so I have no faith that this thing's gonna hold together by the end of the burger, which surprisingly somehow it did pretty alright. But yeah, I got about 7/8 through the burger before I realized the bacon wasn't cooked all the way. Like, it was cooked, but it was still rather raw. So I'm like, well, I'm going to have food poisoning tomorrow. Super. Oh, sorry about that. It came out of nowhere. Anywho, but yeah, we paid for our dinner and went home and just kind of unwinded with the YouTube video and then fell asleep. But it's just like, Jesus Christ, that day was rather bizarre for me, and I thought it would make a great video, and I would have recorded this shit sooner, but we just got back from grocery shopping for the week, and I tried to do grocery shopping, put it all away, and then start the stream. So today that kind of didn't work out, and actually as soon as this video is done, I'm gonna post it quick and then set up the stream and start the stream. So I'll be about an hour late to the stream, and this is like the 3rd or 4th time I've had to record this because my OBS stopped recording. My first recording didn't work because my microphone wasn't catching any sound, so it was dead on arrival. And so I stopped it and started a new recording with the microphone working, and OBS just stopped the recording on its own. So I'm here now recording this for the 3rd time, telling this story for the 3rd time. Both times I got to about the point where we got on the bus the first time. and realized it wasn't working. So, anywho, yeah, that is the story of what happened with my Thursday night into Friday night. Moral of the story is wait a little longer before I invite people into my personal Minecraft server, because one day of playing it cool doesn't mean they're gonna be cool the rest of the time. And always have a good story for when you're on the bus, because again, this is all because we didn't want to park on the street, which I stand by that. I didn't want to park on the street in that area. So it was fine. I mean, we used the time to refill our item bags on Pokemon Go. So we are good for a while. At least I am. I don't know about her, but I am. So it wasn't a complete wash, but yeah, it's one of the things where it's like, maybe, at the very least, we'll ride the bus again, and maybe I'll have more story times for you guys for a video. But yeah, that was my Thursday night into Friday night extravaganza that made for some interesting day. Anywho, I'm going to stop this recording, post it real quick, and then I'm going to set up the stream, and I'll be streaming here in about 5 minutes. Hopefully y'all will be there with me. Anyway, have a good day. Hopefully I'll have more interesting stories to tell. Bye-bye.